Presented by Exquisite Timepieces. More about them in the description down below and later in the video. The Seiko SPB213 is a limited edition modern reinterpretation of the classic Seiko 62MAS diver in commemoration of the Seiko brand's 140th anniversary. It falls into a range of watches that includes my favorite Seiko release in recent years, the SPB143, which is a watch that I liked so much that I purchased it for my personal collection. Now, this watch, the SPB213, doesn't differ too much from the 143 that I've already reviewed, but I have had some viewers ask me to show this one on the channel, so I did want to take a few minutes and do a short video talking about this one and, of course, outlining what is actually different between it and my beloved 143. For starters, yes, this version of the 62MAS reimagining is a limited edition watch. It was produced by Seiko in a quantity of 6,000 total pieces, so if you like this one, don't sit on the fence too long or you might find it hard to find. That said, there's something interesting about this particular limited edition. Number one, it's not the first in the line to be limited edition. Last year when Seiko brought this line of watches out, there was the SPB149, which had a bluish, almost gray dial, and that one was limited to 5,500 pieces. Now, of course, this isn't surprising. Seiko does a ton of limited edition watches. But what is a bit surprising is that there is no price premium over the non-limited edition watches in this range. My SPB143, for example, a regular production model costs $1,200, and so does this limited edition version. In contrast, that previously mentioned limited edition from last year had a retail price of $1,350, if memory serves me correctly, so had a premium of about $150 over the standard retail version. So yeah, good on Seiko for doing a limited edition variation without an upcharge. I'm not sure that I could say with 100% certainty that this is the first time that's happened, but it kind of feels like it. Now, the other obvious difference between this watch and my previously reviewed gray-dialed SPB143 is that this version, of course, has a white dial, and a blue bezel as well. And while this dial is advertised as white, to my eye, it's actually got a hint of silver to it, with a subtle sunburst textured effect. But the dial does look great, whether it's white or kind of silver. Whatever, if you're a fan of lighter colored dials, odds are that you're going to love this one. Now, the bezel is blue, but it's a very dark blue, and I don't think that my video is going to do the bezel justice. It's just hard to capture the color on camera, and in lower light situations, it doesn't show off that rich, glossy blue shine like it does out in broad daylight. And aside from the color, like I said, it does have a shine to it. It's not the same matte brushed finish that I have on my SPB143. It has a bit more of a ceramic look, if I wanted to try to describe it to you guys, even though this is in fact a stainless steel bezel insert. Now, when it comes to the dial, I do have one minor complaint. The lume fill on the markers versus the lume fill on the handset. It's white, but the white isn't the exact same shade. The white fill on the hands is ever so slightly darker. It has a subtle creamy tone to the hands, whereas the dial markers are a pretty crisp and white color. Now, it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. I think maybe most people might not even notice it, but I did pick up on this one detail that is a bit different than what I'd seen on my standard production SPB143. Now, aside from those two things, that being the fact that it's a limited edition and the dial and bezel colorway, this is essentially the same watch as the standard 62MAS reissues. And that is to say that it's a great offering from Seiko, and again, one that I like so much that I bought one. As far as the specs, like I said, I've covered this in my previous review, but I'll briefly go over it here in case you don't want to watch that other video. But I will put a link to it down in the description if you'd like to check out a more in-depth look at both the history of the 62MAS line and the details about these reissues. So this watch has a great size, coming in at 40.5 millimeters in diameter with a lug-to-lug length of just under 48 millimeters. It has a 20 millimeter lug width, and the case thickness is right around 13 millimeters. The watch is constructed from hardened 316L stainless steel, which includes a coin-edged stainless steel elapsed time bezel and a fully graduated stainless steel bezel insert. This is a true dive watch with 200 meters of water resistance, a screw-down crown, an anti-reflective sapphire crystal, and it runs the 6R35 Seiko automatic movement. The The 6R35 offers a 70-hour power reserve, it has hand winding and, of course, stop seconds hacking, and it has a rated accuracy range of -15 to +25 seconds per day. The watch rides on a metal bracelet, and the clasp has a push-button release with fold-over safety latch, as well as a quick-release diver's extension and 4 positions of micro-adjust, although not toolless adjustability. And that brings me to my second minor complaint about this watch. Not about this watch in particular, I guess, but most Seikos, and honestly a lot of other brands as well. And that's the clasp on this watch. And while it's not a bad clasp, it could be a bit better. So here's the thing. $1,200 isn't exactly a super affordable watch, and it would be nice to see Seiko step up their game and come out with a toolless micro-adjust system for their clasps, and especially their dive watches. Some other brands are finally starting to focus on this important feature, and I wish Seiko would get on board with it as well. That said, despite any minor criticisms that I might have about this watch or the whole range in general, the fact of the matter is that I do really love it. I love it so much that I'm wearing mine as we speak, and I've been wearing it more than any other watch over the last few months. I think Seiko did a great job with the design, the sizing, and the quality of this range of SPB 62MAS divers, and if someone asked me to suggest a dive watch that is both great quality but also relatively modestly priced, this is probably the first watch that I would suggest. This video is presented in partnership with Exquisite Timepieces, located in Naples, Florida. Exquisite is an authorized dealer of dozens of watch brands, including Seiko and Grand Seiko, Omega, Oris, Blancpain, Breguet, and many more. Exquisite also has an amazing selection of pre-owned watches with new inventory coming in daily. So if you're looking for your next watch, check their website, exquisitettimepieces.com, or call their store at 239-227-2932, and let them know that you heard about them from Guy in the Just Blue Fish channel. I can't recommend them enough.